welcome back on a day when we are trying to do some more community work. And Camp Coie, of course, is a wonderful camp that does serve kids who have had medical conditions and still continue to survive with those medical conditions. Right now, there are people who are giving back in other ways. It's not always volunteering. It's not always charity. Some people give back in ways that is more, tuned to what they like to do. Cyrus Habib joins us, a technology lawyer at the Seattle-based firm Perkins Coie, who currently is running to represent the 48th Legislative District of Bellevue, Kirkland, Redmond, Medina, Clyde Hill, and the Point communities in the Washington State House of Representatives. And joining him, Vincent Humphreys, who is the General Counsel at Shadow Inventory Solutions, who is also involved in many local organizations, including the Young Lawyers Division of the Washington State Bar Association and the Bellevue Neighborhood Mediation Program. Well, first of all, welcome, guys. How are you?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, Cyrus, Camp Coie must have you must have some understanding of that, having you lost your vision.
Yeah, I did. Listening to Hillary talk was pretty powerful for me because I was one of those kids who had cancer as a child. I lost my eyesight at the age of 8 to a pretty rare form of childhood cancer. And, you're unlucky if you get this once in your life. I actually was doubly unlucky and had it come back in my right eye, and so I lost my eyesight completely. And it was organizations like that gave me the sense of ability and dignity and opportunity to go on and survive and not only survive but thrive ultimately. So it's a fantastic organization.
And really, so when you start thinking about what that has done for you, it's you're now in a place where you're running for office.
It's incredible. That's what I love about this country. It's what I love about this community, that, in many parts of the world, and even in some parts of the U.S., believe it or not, losing your eyesight at that age would mean, and especially, my family, my parents immigrated to this country, so we didn't have a huge network of our own, and so really the role that the state played, that nonprofits like Camp Coie played, and that our public school system above all played in allowing me to go on to go to some great private universities and have some great academic experiences, become a lawyer, and now run for office. That's really incredible to me.
Right, and so how is your campaign going so far?
Well, it's going very well. I think we're out every day. Meeting voters, and it's been great to get a lot of great political support, endorsements from a number of folks, most of the Bellevue and Kirkland Redmond city councils, and as council members, as well as Jay Inslee, Adam Smith, and a lot of Dow Constantine, and a lot of other leaders. So it's been great. I've knocked on 2,000 doors so far. Which means, some fraction of those are doors that have been closed in my face, but I try not to take it personally. And, it's just, thankfully, the weather's been nice on the weekend. So it's been great.
Running for office is that's like the ultimate salesman that you have to go be. You're door-to-door sales in some way.
Well, people have these signs up that say no solicitation, please. And my response is just, I'm not selling anything but democracy, so who's buying?
And so Vincent Humphreys is also here. And, you're involved now, maybe not so much politically, but involved in a lot with what's going on in law, and with both of you guys being part of the local young lawyers community. And, help us understand a little bit about what's going on in the young lawyers division and with the young lawyers in Seattle.
In the legal world. Well, again, Ben, thanks for having me on. And, there's a lot of things, that I could say about, the legal community as a whole. But I think right now what we're seeing, in particular in 2012, is a big transition from the traditional mindset of, I guess, more or less lawyers being less approachable to now really being a conduit to help others. And I really see a huge shift in that, especially within the Young Lawyers Division, amongst other things, with the King County Bar Association and other wonderful agencies that are really making a concerted effort to really give back. The Washington State Bar has a wonderful program called the Moderate Means Program, which helps people that say, if I don't qualify for free legal aid, is there a place that can help serve me? And I would say that right now we're seeing a big shift into I guess you would just say access to justice. A lot of people being able to see what sort of opportunities are out there for them, from foreclosure issues to bankruptcy, unfortunately, due to the economics, to divorce. That's really trending. If this was Twitter, that's really trending. But basically just seeing that there are opportunities out there where I can meet with somebody that's an attorney that, has my best interest and is just really out there to help me.
The attorneys don't seem to be the great white sharks of the past, right? I mean, there's a lot. It seems that a lot is going maybe more towards mediation, people trying to figure out amicable results. I mean, that's what I've seen and heard.
Absolutely. The collaborative effort of saying, can we put our minds together? Can we settle this? Obviously, the legal system is set up in large part adversarial. However, that doesn't mean, as you said earlier, that you have to be a shark. We can still be civil about it and see if we can get to some sort of mutual benefit here as well. I mean, Cyrus, have you seen any shift that way?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, one of the big, as you pointed out, with the downturn in the economy, the need is incredible out there. Yeah. And, a lot of solo practitioners, my mom is a solo practitioner, and it's they're also having a tough time. Lawyers are having a tough time. So there's not always the same ability to do pro bono work. And so I think that moderate means program that you mentioned is a great example where lawyers are saying, we want business. We got to charge you because we got to keep the roof over our head. But we can charge you a rate that you can pay, and everyone wins.
Absolutely.
So the Mercedes is no longer like that's not part of the roof anymore.
Yeah.
And, I think that's really, a big misnomer, really, that attorneys are out there and that they're charging these huge fees and, they've got the Lamborghini or the Bentley and the Rolls Royce and you're the one
I just
paying
said
for
Mercedes. You stepped that up way higher, my friend. Okay, I don't want to get too far down the track of why lawyers are good or bad. Everybody's going to have their own opinion in that based on
this will just end in a lawyer joke.
We're gonna start looking them up on right now. But I want to get back to both of you are very engaged in the community. Cyrus on politics, Vincent, you're a member of many organizations. Where do you feel like young people are either engaged or even disengaged with a lot that's going on in the community?
Well, I'll start. I think,
and by young people, I mean young professionals.
There used to be, and I'm active in the Bellevue Rotary Club, and, there used to be these organizations that really became the center and the focus of how people would get engaged. You get involved through your Chamber of Commerce or through your Rotary Club or Kiwanis or any number of these organizations. And I think now what people are saying is, we really want more options, and we really also want it to meet our social needs as well. We're busy people. And so can you find a way to get involved and give back? Party with a purpose is a term I hear a lot, I mean, can I give back? Right? Can I give back, but in a way that's still fun because I don't have tons of time to do both. And so I think that's changing the philanthropic landscape a little bit.
And to echo that statement as well is finding that niche. I mean, there's a huge shift to social media and other outlets where those are great platforms, but still finding that place where you can still be heard as a professional and still have a good time while doing that, whatever form that might take. I know we've got a few guests coming on later to talk about some of the wonderful things that they've done, but I know for me, in looking at be it a networking event or whatever that organization might be, that there needs to be a component to that outside of let's look at each other. Is there a social aspect in there? Is there a give back component? Is there something that's meeting a larger purpose and goal outside of us all just looking at each other and smiling? Or
looking at each other just on the computer, not even smiling at all. I mean, I think that's what gets me a little bit is, I think people end up doing a lot online, but they don't take that online offline. And I think offline is where a lot more happens. Cyrus, you're talking about still knocking on doors, or going to these events, partying with a purpose. Right.
One other point I wanted to make is that I think that what gets lost sometimes is the need that exists right in our own backyard. It was really gratifying when you had the natural disaster in Haiti or in Japan, a few years ago, and you see just the outpouring of support. And I think that's incredible. And we don't want to do anything to stop that because people are paying attention around the world and we want them to do that. At the same time, we also want people to be aware of sometimes, what doesn't get as much of, necessarily as much attention because it's not as cataclysmic. But there's a lot of need right in our backyard. And so sometimes the online world doesn't necessarily reflect that. And being out there in person allows you to kind of get a glimpse of that.
To echo that, you think of the online communities, whether maybe it's a Facebook page, but a lot of the local ones, they have a couple hundred fans. And I think there's that lack of social proof because, do I want somebody who's a function or a volunteer, something that has a couple hundred fans? Or do you want the big national or international Red Cross that has 10 million? And I think that's a tough thing for people to weigh because in one hand, you want to be part of the local community, but I think everybody also has a desire to be part of the bigger community.
To make big change, and I think, I know, a lot of your listeners are focused in on real estate. And to me, I think of real estate as a sector of the economy that is always thinking very intimately about local. Right? Because they're thinking about neighborhoods, they're thinking about communities, what makes this a great place to either to live or to set up a business. They're thinking about those value propositions. So I actually, really look to that professional community.
And I would say, just to add on to what you said in just going back a few seconds ago in regards to a small following versus a large following, there was a great statement from a guy that I really respect, and he said, it's not so much about the numbers. So, to the listeners that are out there that are saying, well, hey, I'm a part of this group, but there's only 10 of us, or there's only, 20 of us, but I really like it, and it fulfills a need that I have. I would say, to that person, to that listener, that, don't worry so much about the numbers, but just make those numbers count. You don't have to have a lot of people to make a serious impact wherever it is that you are, and realize that when you can make those numbers count, however that might be, you are making a difference. Be it your community, be it whatever association you're a part of, make the numbers count.
Well, it's a little bit of being the change in the world, being the change that you want to see in the world. I mean, not everybody has the money of a Warren Buffett or Bill Gates where you can just go give every penny that anybody could ever imagine. But by taking some action, and even as Hillary said with Camp Coie, things thrive on volunteers. They really do.
One of the things I would challenge, all of us to think about is how can we build giving back into the professional work that we do. A friend of mine, James Sun, founded a company called Perk, and this is like an online, deals, real-time deal finder that you have on your smartphone, so you can find if there's a good deal for you at a local restaurant. Well, they worked into their platform a discount for various charities, and there's different ways they identify those charities. The money from the discount goes to the charity, so there's actually a donation being made. I think it's incredible. And so we can think about not only how do we just write a check or volunteer our time, but how do we actually build it into the culture of our professional lives?
Guys, we have to go to break in just a minute, but I want to hit on one more thing, Cyrus. Can you tell us a little bit about Step Ahead, which is was something you're involved in?
Yeah, there's a new nonprofit I'd love to flag, and I think it ties into what your next segment is going to be all about. But as many of your listeners will know, we have great need in our public schools. Students who really should be looking at college, want to go to college. The need is there, the desire is there, but for whatever reason, they're not getting the right guidance. They're not getting the right college prep, whether it's SAT prep or essays and stuff. So there's an organization founded by a former teacher and a lawyer right here in the Seattle area that's going into public schools and at a pretty low cost per student, creating a program that will mentor these kids starting in the middle of high school, make sure that they have a plan and they get into college, and it even sees them through the first year. It's called Step Ahead. It's online at stepacademy.org. And I think you'll be hearing more about it in the next segment. But I just wanted to tee that up by saying how powerful I think this is. And the folks on, that listen to this station will know, and to this program will know, value proposition is everything. This is a highly scalable, great investment in young people.
And, it is amazing how often the schools and young people get left behind. So anything that people can do and volunteer and be a part of that, whether it's through a camp or through something like Step Ahead, I think is instrumental to the future of what everybody's trying to accomplish. Absolutely. Guys, thanks so much for joining us again, Cyrus Habib and Vincent Humphrey. When we come back, a big part of getting involved is knowing who else is involved. Do you know how to find all the people who are involved in the things you want to be involved with? When we come back, we're going to give you all the big tips on how to do it and being involved in your community. My name is Ben Brashen. You're listening to Brashenomics.